you in, anime? Adjusting the camera here has been fucked with over a week now. What area are you in? I know you said New York. But like New York State, New York City. Let me go ahead and turn that off. So yeah, what area are you in? Let me do some of those, but I don't like doing that now. All right, so while you're typing that, we're gonna watch a few videos, at least one or two. One of them is like 30 minutes long. The other one's very short. Of the Sea of Stars trailer and the Sea of Stars documentary of the game. I'm gonna watch both those. I haven't get a chance to watch either of those yet, so we will be watching that. Let me go ahead and get up so I can have. There we go. Best I can do for right now. But yeah, we're gonna watch these. Then later on we're gonna play some Genshin Impact. I wanted to play Baldur's Gate, but I don't have enough money for it. Just let you know, if you ever see Geo back here, anybody, I'll probably repeat this number of times. If you see Geo back here and you see him that he's having problems walking, Geo is having problems walking. His back legs are giving out on him. We're getting him a wheelchair that I'm gonna have to come out of pocket to buy, to help him walk. Lotus. I'm pretty sure Geo don't appreciate licking his asshole. Well, yeah, his back legs are giving out on him. He's still very much active. He still very much wants to eat. He still has very much a hunger for it. We don't know if he hurt his back legs or back legs are just not strong enough anymore. So we're getting him a wheelchair for dogs in hopefully this week, and that might be attached to him, and I might take him in and out of it whenever he needs to get some water or he's thirsty. So if you see him moving around, let me know. But I'm alive. I'm not in the flooded zone. I'm burning up. It's hot as fuck here. We haven't got flooding in our area in a while. Like, we first moved in here, I mean literally the day we first moved in here, we had a flood warning. And I drove through it just to move into this house. We haven't had flood problems since then, but doesn't mean they won't come back. And it might have been just that one time that this town had a flood problem, and then that was it. But we've been here for what, 2 years now? Yeah, but what area are you in? What area are you in, anime? What area are you in? New York what? Anyways. New York what? I'm gonna say this a number of times. New York what? What area are you in? Alright, so we're gonna watch this little launch trailer of the game and see what they got cooked up in this thing. Probably would help if you actually could hear the audio. So I don't know what's going on with that. So let's go ahead and fix that right now. There we go. Okay, got swimming going on here. Not much of a trailer so far, gotta say. That was interesting. That's some news right there. Interesting. As a character for later on. Oh yeah, that challenging thing.
Said. I'm in central New York right now.
City or state? Okay, so that was a pretty itch. We'll go back a little bit here. Watch out one more time. Oh, that's sick. Okay, can't say I love their trailer for this game. I think the trailer's a little underwhelming. I wish it would have probably gone to a little bit more of the story, like a story trailer, than a gameplay trailer. But I know some people are more interested in gameplay. So I think the game's great. I hope the game comes out soon. I can't wait to play it. On or off stream, I don't care. I'm playing this game.
Said.
All right, so
City.
City, okay. Let me see. A month ago. I'm trying to look at recent news. Video on social media shows that cars are submerged in highways, and water pouring through subway stations and homes of drive downpour.
Hello there, greetings from Asher and I.
Hey, Petty. Why'd you change your name, by the way? I saw you change your name to Petty King Pressure.
Said. Good to see you.
Glad to be back. I'm good to I'm no longer sick. Can't say things haven't been easier.
I couldn't get into my account.
You couldn't get into your account? Did you forget your password?
I'm glad you are not sick.
Well, I still have, I have symptoms of it, but I don't have, I'm not contagious no more.
No, and the email and password didn't work.
Email and password didn't work. I'm sure you tried, forgot password. I would try to get in contact with Twitch and see if maybe your account got hacked. I know certain people in our community, you know, they all go through.
Yeah, I had to hurry up and put sandbags around our house before leaving to the evacuation center with my dad. Said. Yes, I did, so I just made another one. Said. Hello, anime.
Okay, so again, I will tell you, because I told anime, if you ever see Geo, my pug, you should recognize him. He's the oldest one. If you ever see him walking or trying to walk behind me, he is losing or has lost. We don't quite know yet. We're trying to work on it. He's losing his back legs walking, like he's having troubles walking on it.
Said.
So
Hi, pet taking pressure.
So if you see him back here struggling walking or trying to walk and he's falling a lot, we're getting him a wheelchair this week. I've already bought it,
Said.
so I'm waiting for it to come in.
Poor Babai, I will pray for him.
But he is having problems walking, and we're having to help him walk around the house, help him get to water, help him get the food, help him get him outside, use the restroom. Until that comes in, we don't know if he hurt his legs or if he's literally not able to walk on his back legs anymore. I wanted to use that money to buy the Baldur's Gate 3 game for y'all because I think that game could be fun to play. But unfortunately, that bought into my budget. That money was supposed to be going to my graphics card. I don't even know if I can replay it, honestly, because you know how my computer's been acting up lately. But yeah, it's been biting into my budget. Me getting sick bought into my budget. Need to be buying medicine.
Said.
Yeah,
I love the 2 cams. Said. And how much is it?
Baldur's Gate's around like $60 right now. So yeah, he's currently having to rest. I don't know if you can see him. He's right there, but he's going through a lot of stuff. So that's my grandpa was supposed to get this. I'm gonna give you a little short story before we get to the next thing. Y'all know my grandpa might have killed my grandmother, right? I've told this story before in the past. If you didn't know that, now you know. He might have killed.
Slim.
Thank you for subscribing.
Thanks for
Hey,
subscribing
G-Slim.
for 6 months. Said. Fart.
Nice. So my mom has been in contact with my grandpa after a long time and trying to make up for lost times. He's apologizing. He knew the woman might have done it. It's the woman he got with after my grandma died. They were getting contact, and apparently all of that was a farce. He doesn't want to talk to her. He doesn't love her. He doesn't care for her. He's still an asshole. He was supposed to die over a month ago. The old geezer just does not want to croak. So dealing with that, then dealing with Geo, and then me getting COVID, and then of course my depression I had about a week or a month ago now. So been doing a lot, chat. Doing a lot. I'm not having the best of times right now, but at least I'm not being flooded. Hey, I'm not knocking on your problems there, anime. I'm just saying, at least I'm not being flooded. It could be worse. I could lose all my possessions because of a flooding. Even though I'm sure you're not in the bottom floor. Hopefully you're at least 2 or 4 apartments high.
I know.
If you're bottom floor, you're pretty much gonna almost guaranteed to get flooded. So let's just hope you have good flood insurance as well. Which I've seen videos in the past. I know I've seen them where people estimated sooner or later New York will be completely flooded.
Yes,
out.
wish I was there to help, and you are still here, and you matter, and you are amazing human being.
Yeah, it's
said. I just hope our house is okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I still have COVID.
He's ready about the flooding anime.
I still have COVID. But I'm not contagious. And I was on. My wife got it. She brought it home. And of course, if your significant other gets it, it's only a matter of time until you get it.
And I'm not at home right now. I'm at an evac center right now.
Even if you separate yourself from your loved one, there's just too many things. Airborne contact, touching of something that they may have forgot, touching them and not realizing, your normal habits of wanting to, be next to your loved one. There's a number of factors that could have got me sick, but I got it, and it wasn't worse as the first time, but it still sucked. All right, so we're gonna watch one more thing, but yeah, I wanted to play Baldur's Gate, but that's not gonna happen. So we're gonna play some Genshin Impact tonight.
Said.
And we're gonna go
anyways,
from there.
I need to eat, but we'll try to be back later if I'm able to.
Yep. I'll see. I don't see how you could unless you have no power and no internet there. Which, as far as I can tell, everything's fine with that. But so I'm just gonna look up. I'm just looking up the flooding situation because I am keeping an eye on it. I just don't know how to look up the
keep
news
us posted. Anime sending helling vibes.
Yeah, I wanna see the videos and stuff like that. All right, next one. All right, Now, the video, the next one we're gonna watch, this is the documentary of the game that I'm looking forward to, Sea of Stars, when it comes out. I pre-ordered this game months back. Me and Lord Pestilence are both looking forward to this game a lot. Lord Pestilence said he might get a digital version, or he is going to get a digital version of this game, and then give it to me for a giveaway for y'all. So that might be coming a thing. If you have a Nintendo Switch or PC or whatever console that comes on, I think it comes on pretty much every console that there is: Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, and PC. So it's coming everywhere. But yeah, that sounds dirty. I haven't had the chance to watch this yet.
When I was like 10 or something, I rode my bicycle with my best friend, and we went to the rental place. And so I didn't speak a word of English, and we didn't have, being in Quebec and being French in North America, we didn't get games in French. And we asked the manager, "Is this a two-player game?" And he said, "Yeah," which it's not, right? So we didn't even try combat. We saw it was talking, and we couldn't understand anything, And so he leaves. And I keep playing, and the music just took me over. Right? The ambience and that, oh my God. The thing I was most excited about was to make an RPG, but we weren't really ready.
Sorry, there was a bug on my screen. I've been trying to kill it for a while. That's that finally. Little fucking fly. Cool as ass. The music is gonna be awesome. Like the aesthetics, the art, the styles, all like nostalgic, but the music is fucking killer.
So my name is Thierry Boulanger. I'm a CEO of Sabotage Studio. Founded the company in 2016.
This is a company that is in Canada, but it's the French Canada. You said Quebec. So if you did not know that. But this community or this game developers are all in Canada. So
April, so we're just about to celebrate 7 years now. And what I do mostly at the studio is creative direction, so all things game design.
I played their last game called The Messenger.
So take inspiration from retro games, from the genres that always stuck with us since playing games as kids. And we wanted to modernize, present experiences that are as good as our memories of those games. So for sure with Messenger, we addressed the action platformer there with the Ninja Gaiden inspiration. Right now with Sea of Stars, it's more of the turn-based RPG. So I had been for, 7 or 8 years? So I was a gameplay programmer, and I wanted to be a designer. It was a bit of a struggle there because, the bigger company thing of, well, you're valuable where you are, so let's not take a risk. And I said, well, what about my dream, And I actually pitched Messenger to my employer who said, well, there you have it, you're not a designer, get back to coding. And it was pretty clear that when someone says you can't do something, it just means you can't do it with them, right? And so it was kind of like, we need a business now. Starting my own studio was the way that we could sort of freely work with the people that I cherry-picked on the ideas that I wanted to work on. And so in April 2016, so a year prior to that, with our level designer Phil, we started working evenings and weekends on a prototype for Messenger. And when it started getting together, our composer Eric joined, made a first track, the Autumn Hills one, which is still kind of the highlights of the soundtrack. And then we realized we kind of had something. So we started the company and then started trying to get funding and get all the team together, and yeah.
Kind of wish I could have done that when I was a little younger. You know what I'm saying? Just had like a passion for something. And of course, I had so many people tell me I couldn't do stuff when I was younger. I couldn't do it. That wouldn't be a good idea. It wouldn't be a smart idea. But I've been told that so many times in my life. It's almost ingrained back in my mind that my ideas are stupid and they're dumb. And when so many things in your life shows that to be true, you start to instinctually think that is true all the time. And that is not a good mindset. I know it's not. It's a terrible mindset, but it's a mindset that it kind of overwhelms you. And I've tried to overcome that obstacle for years. And I've done a pretty good job, I think. But it is definitely noticeable when how many things I've tried over the 70 years or so of being a content creator. And nothing really has really stood out or has really succeeded to my expectations. And the good thing that this guy said, you know what, I want to do this, and I'm gonna go fucking do it, and it worked for him. Must be nice.
If we go back a year before Sabotage was founded, there was Phil, who's our level designer. There was Miko, who's all things level art. Like anything that's a pixel, that's not a character, basically, was him. So there was also Eric, composer. A year in, when we founded the studio, my buddy Martin co-founded with me, and then we had Sylvain join as the gameplay programmer so that I could stop coding at long last. And then Cal joined later on. He's our integrator now, but he was QA back then. And then Jean-Luc joined for animation and Savannah. So we had, 7 people to launch the game. And then Devolver got involved. That was about 8 months before release. We met at PAX South in January of 2018. So got to pitch the game to them, and they signed it, which went a long way into putting us on the map, something we're still very grateful for.
How I got involved with Sabotage Studio was writing and releasing my own music for over 10 years and just doing my own thing like that. Eventually it found the ears of somebody who was thinking about starting his own studio. That's pretty much how that happened. He just approached me at a show. Actually reached out on LinkedIn. Apparently, I never got that email. Never really checked LinkedIn, I guess. The kind of stuff I was doing before
I'm
I
on
started
LinkedIn and I
doing
don't check that shit.
Sabotage was just, I found chiptune on MySpace, which was repurposing old video game consoles and computers to make music with. I started on Nintendo Game Boy. I sort of fell into that scene, and then I wanted to do this, but in my own way, and then started adding metal vocals. I noticed it was a lot easier to travel playing Game Boys rather than lugging around a whole drum set. So I just did a lot of touring with that, and eventually just people heard it.
Getting my friends to join Sabotage, that was pretty easy. I mean, Phil was, so not level designer Phil, but producer Phil, was a bit annoying. I had to write almost a love letter in the first game, like the tearjerker moment. He called me crying. He was like, okay, man, I get it now, let's look into this,
So I met Thierry way back when we were working at the previous studio. I was doing project management, he was doing programming. After I left that studio, we started talking about different side projects. We even had like a small business together doing consultancy. He started bringing the idea of that world he was building since he was a kid for the Messenger. I think he was partying, it was the lunch party
Is this the
for the
fucking
Messenger, and I started
thinking
playing the game.
about a documentary of the
And then at
Messenger,
end, I
a
saw that
documentary of the freaking
shopkeeper has stories in the
Sea of
Messenger.
Stars.
So
Come on,
there
yeah.
was one story directed to the team, and there was a note for me in it, which really brought me to tears.
We had all been working together for almost 10 years, most of us, and it was clear, if you're in a bigger studio, you kind of have your either sub-team or like core team that you work with, and you just meet all these people that you're cut from the same cloth, right?
So my job is mainly to work with Thierry, our creative director.
Definitely tell a lot.
and,
Some of them
Philippe,
do
our
not
designer,
have
to produce
English
all
as
the
their first
visual assets.
language.
Actually, I work with Thierry and a lot of the founders of the studio at our previous job. I was a 3D artist then, and during the lunchtime, I always did like a lot of pixel art because I was always passionate about pixel art, but my job didn't permit me to do that much of it. So when Thierry saw that I love that, he told me about that project he had. One thing leading to another. When he started the studio, he asked me to join as
One
the
thing
first
to
artist
another.
for the game. So.
It kind of became this abstract thing of, hey, if I build it, will you come, And essentially the core team that was
Come.
needed to kind of have all the atoms that we need to make a first simpler
Cheesy
game, which
joke.
would be Messenger, none of us have looked back. So 10 years prior to Sabotage, I made a Flash prototype. It was called Darkest Night, but it was the ninja. You had the full moon, you had the purple lighting and the grass and all. And so the idea was kind of always there, but it was hard to convey at first because the last pitch anyone wants to hear is Pixel Ninja because it feels like there's so many of them already. In my opinion, there's too many zombie games, but it appears that the thing you hear when you want to make a ninja game is every.
Oh my god. I'm sorry. I agree with this guy says right here. There's too many zombie games. There is too many zombie games. There was, I don't know, it was like 2 or 3 years back. every studio and every game where seemed like they were trying to make a zombie game, and I was so over it because I'm not a big fan of zombie games. I don't hate them, but if anybody's like, hey, here's a zombie game, I would rather pass and not let you spend your money on it. I'm not a zombie game player at all. It doesn't appeal to me. It doesn't entice me. Like it does a lot of other people. I don't know. There's something about zombies and hauntings and I don't know. It's just not. I don't find it cool.
Game
I
is
guess.
that, and I was like, well, give me the badass ninja in context, like in the bamboo forest, you know, the fantasy that you picture. It was just like, let's take that risk of just making the cliched like idea and see where we can take that. And we went to PAX South, and so our friend Kirk over at Nintendo of America was an account manager there. He basically said, no, I think you just need to see the game. And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, it's just awesome to get, you know, like someone who believes like that, but you're like, yes, but how do we get them to see it, right? And so he brought someone over from Devolver, and I got to do a quick pitch, which had the whole thing about, you know, it's a linear game, and then the frame falls, and you've been playing a Metroidvania all along, and you now have this part explored, but then you have to go everywhere. And I don't know if it was that specifically, but it seems to be when Nigel it was kind of went like, that's cool, you know. And he asked if he could send over the entire team. And so I had to pitch in front of, I think there were 7 or 8 people. And it was very stressful because we're nobodies, right? And it's like, who would you like to publish your game? Your pixel game at that, right? And it's like, well, Devolver. It's like, well, yeah, anyone would say that. The reception Messenger got was, what I was really surprised about is how many of the intentions came across, you know, and that the players, when we see conversation about the game online, it's like, these are all people we never talked to directly that get it. And in their own words, are repeating the essence of the initial pitch I gave the team. Now, the Game Award was kind of like, there's nothing after that, right? There are expectations, because some people come to us because of,
what the hell is that about?
Right? Or they expect something
Random
more
abstract art
coming up next or whatever. And we're trying to keep things like, look, what worked for us was we focused on what we wanted to make, and we all agreed as a team that this was what we wanted to present.
Trophy?
And we're trying to kind of maintain that amidst the kind of whole maelstrom
Never seen before.
of people, like, you know, is it coming out? Is it going to have this or that? Is it going to be 200 hours? Or are there going to be 25 playable characters? And it's like, hopefully we know what we're making and why, and once you play it, it will make sense. So the plan after Messenger was always to make Sea of Stars. Actually, the kind of the prize for us was we get to make an RPG together. If we pull this off, if we make it work just enough.
Normally pirates aren't my thing, and I'll say this up front, I'm much more of a ninja guy than I'm pirates. I like the aspect of ninjas, but I'm okay with it to the point where I'm skipping a lot, and I'm honestly like fast forwarding through a lot of episodes. I'm watching One Piece, and I think I'm around like 600 or so in episodes, but I've skipped a lot. And like each episode, sometimes they are so many fucking fillers and moments in any episode of One Piece that does not need to be there. Honestly, it can just be a drag on trying to get to the actual content of the series, and they just. Like, this was one episode, or one portion of One Piece where Luffy is trying to save his brother. Sorry, I'm big on a tangent here. But Luffy's trying to save his brother, and he's running on his ice trying to get to the forts area where his brother's being held at for execution. And it takes him, feels like 20 episodes just to get over the ice and even onto the platform area of his brother before he actually gets to his brother. Even though each episode looks like the field or yards of this ice area be like maybe 40 yards at most, but yet it makes it seem like he's running a football field. It kills me.
The high-level pitch, I guess, for Sea of Stars was there was never a game that ticked all the boxes. There were a lot of those games that I was like, oh, this one is doing this really well. Oh, that thing is really fun. And whenever there would be a new one coming out, I was hoping it would be the one that has it all. If you look at Chrono Trigger, you have the fact that combat takes place in the same areas that you're traversing. There's no transition, you don't go to a separate arena, no random encounters. You can see and touch everything. Then you look at Super Mario RPG with the timed inputs, right? Which makes kind of like combat is turn-based, but it's also active. There's something to it, like fighting a new enemy is not just here's a health bar, here's the weakness, let me exploit that. It's also a new pattern to kind of learn. And if you fail on a boss, it's not just, oh, let's try again, but drink more potions. It's like, oh, I can execute better at blocking and things like that. And it was always clear to me that that makes combat more engaging. And so I think these would be the kind
All
of
right,
the pillars,
Tibbers.
right? Things being seamless in terms
We
of
need to get that
traversal,
health up,
breaking
big
free
boy.
from the grid. Like
My
no
lungs
tile-based
are right
movement,
now
you go
are,
in and out of water.
the problems. The body aches are one thing, but I'll let you know as well since you just got here. I've been telling everybody this. If you see Gia, my pug in the background, walking or struggling to walk behind me at any point, he's just behind the camera. His back legs are giving out on him. We don't know if he hurt his back legs or if he's just getting to that point where he can't walk no more. We're getting him a wheelchair. I've already bought it. I already spent my money that I was trying to save up for a graphics card or buy a Baldur's Gate, but that seems like it's going to be happening anytime soon. I was really hoping to buy Baldur's Gate and see if I could probably stream that game. But right now he's laying down, but if you see him walking, just let you know he's having problems walking, and we're trying to keep his back, we're trying to rebuild up his back muscles again, and or try to get him stable again. But I'm getting him a wheelchair. I had to spend my money. That and all my medicine because I got COVID, as you well know. So yeah. All right. So let's use the squats. I'm not gonna do them very fast. I'm still not fully over COVID, but we'll do it. Lotus. Sorry, Sprite. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I did 10, but plus 5, whatever. You're okay, Nani. You're okay, Nani. All right. So yeah, we're watching the documentary of Sea of Stars because you know that game came out, or not the game came out, but the trial for the game, or demo for the game, came out a couple months back. Pre-ordered it because I can't wait to play this game. Such a nostalgic looking, sounding, and playing game. I haven't had a chance to watch this yet because I've been sick.
Seamlessly, and then having these animations like climbing and all the angles, hoisting up, grabbing the ledges. And so just to mix really a world that you can touch, and that everything that you read, it's not like, oh, this is my grid and then this is the art. You're always like a part of everything, and you can touch things, you can feel them.
Our motto is usually like we want to do the memory of an old game, not the actual old game. So the initial pitch for Sea of Stars Thierry gave me is what the game became. Without spoiling too much, the idea of like the solar, the lunar magic, the eclipse, a world with like
Interesting. I didn't know
interactive
that.
puzzles and navigation that's actually fun to play with.
It's kind of the dream, right? You're making an RPG with your friends. I don't know. For me, as a game developer, I always knew that's what I wanted to do for a living, and that just sounds like the coolest thing you can possibly undertake, you know? But I think where it feels, you know, legitimate for us to propose an entry is that I think we're rethinking or freshening up or modernizing enough elements, and hopefully while telling a good enough story.
And we decided, like, let's see how far we can go just being a fully independent studio. And this is when we started like thinking about, you know, building that marketing infrastructure in-house and starting developing the relationships with, other parties. Around September 2019, we started working on that reveal for Sea of Stars, which was planned for March 2020.
Here's your damn Baldur's
So the team
Gate,
was
you
hard at
beautiful
work
bastard.
on,
I love
setting
you
the
in that
direction
super
for,
secret
art
special way.
direction, sound
Shush.
direction,
Don't
creative
tell your wife.
direction, Everything.
I can't really cite
Oh,
a direct
thank you.
reference in terms of audio, but it was more
I'll
just
buy
trying
it,
to
I
capture
guess
the era.
whenever I get them when,
but also
when it clears.
Just because of the nature of the project, there was so much more room
Thanks.
for
I was really hoping to play the game.
sort of experimenting with having
So
more
I can't give you
high
very much
fidelity
emotion
audio
right now,
sort of
honestly,
hidden.
because my brain is completely still foggy. COVID does a lot of stuff to your brain, and I'm hoping the fog goes away.
In there. Sea of Stars, I really wanted to create, in terms of the sound design, like really create like ambience for each area. There's no such thing as silence really. Like if you go outside, you hear wind, you hear traffic, you hear people, construction, whatever's happening. Kind of the same thing for the game, I think, to make each area really feel unique, you really have to hear like the wildlife or the critters that might occupy that area, on top of the music layers and the sound effects and all that stuff.
This game touches so
But when it
many
comes to art direction,
bases
it was
for
pretty
me.
clear
I
where we
just-
wanted to go. The reference points.
I'm pretty
again,
surprised
from
how
the
well this
experience
game
on Messenger
has-
and then working with Mick and
has
environments. We had a
really caught
good
my attention.
connection. And so it kind of just emerged, I would say, naturally.
One thing you'll find in Sea of Stars that you won't find in any other is really like the sense of this world had an history. It's like a lot of environmental storytelling, Like you'll see big heads of stone that's been there for centuries maybe, and it's like, what's this about? And you actually interact with that, and it becomes like the entrance of a side area and things like that. It's really like an interactive environment too. So.
Well, so the main doubt that we were hearing, which was understandable, is are you a one-trick pony?
One of the reasons why I wanted to play this game is because there is so much interaction in this game. Like I'll say this again, I love the combat, not because it's just like, hey, turn-based. You click the turn, you do your ability. Okay, it's their turn. You click their turn, they do ability. Like even the abilities, you have to interact with the abilities in order to get the maximum effect of that ability. Whether it be ability that helps your allies, or ability that helps yourself, or ability that attacks the enemy, you constantly have to
what
be...
else has great interaction? Cloud Meadows.
Cloud Meadows. Let me look that up. I did sign up. I don't know if y'all saw this on Discord yesterday. For that RPG project, Mugen. I did sign up for that. I don't know if I ever got invitations to Blue Project or Blue something. I forget the name of it. But my wife, it's on her Amazon account. So if she got the email for it, she never told me about it. Let me see. Cloud. Is that porn game? Sorry, my brain just... I've seen...
Said.
Yeah, that one.
Yes.
Yes, I
Said.
have played it.
Got M.
I have played it. Who would have thought, right? I played it. It was still in like a bit of a the trial area.
Said.
Still in development
Admit
area.
it, you missed me.
Yeah, I miss a lot of y'all. But can't miss when you're sick. Or you're depressed. But yes, I did play that game. And I really wanted to snoop with big orky mama. She was one of my main goals. Didn't care about the cat, the other furry ones. But
Whatever, like, is it?
okay.
Said. You certainly cannot miss when you are sick. That is when you shot your shot with the cute nurse.
No, if it got worse, I'd have been taking my shot at a hospital. I sent a game to Lord Pestilence called Goblin Down. Goblin as in the fantasy creature, and down, but it's supposed to be like goblin down these nuts kind of like joke. It's on Steam, and I sent it to Lord Pestilence, and I'm pretty sure you'd probably be interested in it too. It's called Goblin Down. Check it out.
Is the next thing that is as basic of an initial proposition likely to have the same kind of response? These things, they still kind of speak to us, and it's like, well, how far can we push expression within those simple ideas to keep those things fresh? Big challenge was the dynamic lighting, and so we couldn't tell the story of the children of the solstice and all that, and you know, controlling the stars and all, without dynamic lighting. The lighting has to be everywhere because it's a very core part of the narrative and of the powers that you're wielding.
So much movement.
And so at
I like
first
that.
we spent
I
about
like
6
that a
months
lot.
with just a tech artist and a tools programmer trying to figure out how do we render something that feels retro plus but doesn't break the immersion, you know? The idea around playtime also kicks into how many times you will replay it if there was no tedium. So there's no grinding in the game at all. And the idea is that you focus on the story, you just flow with it, and the rest will feel right. You get these upgrades, you get these level ups.
Okay, probably controversial thought here. I'm actually okay with grinding in video games. Like, sometimes grinding for me is just a moment in time for me, just to get into the video game, turn off my brain, and just like go into chill mode and just play the game grinding. Like World of Warcraft, I was okay with grinding in a Warcraft game. Like, you know, it wasn't really a big problem for me. To a point, there's always a limit, right? It's always a limit to where it's just tedious nonsense to it's just fun time to waste. If you know, of course, people have said this before, and I'll say it too. You're never wasting time when you're having fun, and I think that's true for anything. If you're having fun, you're not wasting time, no matter what people may say. And if the game did have grinding in it, I would have been okay with it. It wouldn't have bothered me one bit. But I get it. Some people don't like grinding, so they did away with that whole thing.
You get these new gear from a chest or from a shop or whatever. Like the key metric that we have is everything should be done before the player is, right? You're always wanting something more, and you're like, it was fun being here, but then you're onto something else that takes over and you now care to be there instead.
But who's my love interest?
Hopefully in kind of the same fashion that some people were saying, if they're announcing soon, if it's not Messenger 2, I don't want to hear about it. But then once they see it, they're like, okay, actually I do want this, you know? So we're trying to keep it rolling, and in terms of the game, there's never like a stale bit that makes you go, I'll never replay that, you know?
I can't say I won't.
So the
play
idea
game
around the
multiple
Kickstarter
times,
is we
'cause
wanted sort of a social proof, right? Because going all in, and then
Majora's
after 5 years
Mask
just
and
releasing something, it's like, oof, no one cares. Maybe we should
Secret
save
of
a bit
Mana
of money,
several
yeah.
times.
So our Kickstarter did really well. We raised over $1 million, and we got over 25,000 backers. And so publishers were coming to us because they were hearing about the game, and they wanted in, of course, because that's their job, right? To be in.
The game that I backed, Subverse. I think it's Subverse. That game got a lot of money, but not many people apparently want to put that on their console or whatever. It's only on Steam. It's almost completely completed itself. Like they keep updating it on Steam, so you get the new parts of the story, new characters, and new girl. It's that kind of game. I love it, by the way. Love it.
Do you feel good enough to stream?
I'm not gonna push myself. Don't worry, honey. It's just gonna be one of those streams where if when I don't feel good enough, I'll just call it. I'm not feeling bad. Not feeling great.
And then the thing that looks like it's going to pan out. And so basically in all the business negotiations that you
I want
have
that book.
after a successful Kickstarter, it's like, well, we have the
Or is
proof
it just
that
in a
it works.
manga
So anything
or
that's a
magazine?
risk for you in terms of, is it a good pick? It's very rare that you can just show proof that can
Last
move out
time
of
y'all
the
looked
way.
at a gaming
And so
magazine.
it gave us a lot of leverage to go for what we wanted for ourselves, which was
Said.
to self-publish.
He
You
feels
can
good
work
enough
with the
for me to
best
say, hey
indie
Grumpy, your
publisher in
eyebrows
the
are
world,
on
and I
fleek.
fully believe that we did, but you're still under their umbrella, right?
Oh, hey! Leave him alone. You okay, Bobby? That was Nani. But guess patting Geo. You leave Geo alone, ma'am. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, I was gonna say, if I ever wanted to cosplay as somebody, I should do a blood elf, because my eyebrows, I
Said.
swear to freaking
Ma,
God,
and this is a Wendy S.
my eyebrows are getting so long at the tips here. I literally have to start to trim them down because they started curving upwards a little bit. I noticed that the other day. I'm like, my eyebrows are curling upwards like a blood elf. If blood elves have beards, I'm a contender. Of course, my wife would hate me if I shaved my face baby smooth. She done told me that's not gonna go. That's not gonna fly. But should just do a blood elf. More video games need more blonde
Said.
eyebrow characters.
Ha ha ha, second puberty is a bitch.
About thirdies and fourthies.
Right? And a lot of people
Lord of
still,
Ring
despite them
reference.
going out of their way to mention you, people overwhelmingly still go like, oh, you know, the publisher made this, that's the game from that publisher, and then you don't know what can happen. You can't be, we didn't want to, for us to be independent, right, was part of that was self-publishing, that we can bring our own message ourselves, we can move the dates if we need, we don't want to be, we want to be locked in as less contracts as possible, that it's really only about the game. And so that's why we went with Kowloon Knights, which is more of a fund. So they're not a publisher. We're publishing. If you have a publisher, your publisher pays you, right? Whereas if you have an investor, kind of, you pay them, right? Royalties. So that means that you have all the access to all the dashboards to get all that data of who's playing in which country and how the curve's doing. And so it just feels right that the love that we want to keep pouring into our games, then we're the sole, you know, decision makers about what flies.
Kickstarter was definitely like a highlight of my career to see like, okay, the players are there for that idea, and that has been like the project for which I joined Sabotage first.
So yeah, we started working on just doing our homeworks, analyzing modern Kickstarter campaigns, seeing what works, what doesn't work. It was also, you know, establishing the brand
Your
of
artwork in the
CSR, so
game
logos,
is pretty good
PR
too, I
and
gotta
everything,
say.
the websites.
I kind of love
And
that,
then,
that
so we're
picture
going
right there.
to GDC, right? GDC 2020. And we had the day of the of the spring equinox. Very cute, right? It's like, oh, it's the spring equinox, we're gonna announce
Oh, you can
the
tell
sun
that
and
guy
moon
is the type
thing
of
with
guy who gets
eclipse
drunk at
power
a
and
bar
all.
just to pick a
Early
fight.
2020, we started doing the booking for GDC. There was like a press tour with our new PR partner. That was like everything was organized. The suite was booked, and
Everyone will be rolling in, ready to give the pitch and all. And then, yeah, everything gets canceled about a week and a half prior to that. We're looking at this like, okay, do we still go for it?
In regards to the Kickstarter, I think I messaged Phil. I was like, because we launched it, like a week after lockdown or something like that. And I messaged him, I was like, are we still doing this?
Wow,
like,
that's a beautiful
I mean,
picture
I know we've
of
been
where the
planning
fuck
it for
that
months
is.
and all that, but is this still happening? He's like, yeah, we're in too deep. We got to do it.
it was one of the hard decisions we
Said.
had to make, I think, professionally.
You
like,
can
do
tell
we go
he
ahead?
uses
It was
words
super
like Riz
risky.
and Drip.
Like the landscape was changing, like on a daily basis.
The fuck is
discussion
Riz?
was changing around COVID. Is it dangerous? Is it going to be long term? And
That's
do
his
you do
drinking
it?
partner-
Do you risk
partner right
missing
there.
your reveal.
Guy
Like,
with
you
the
don't
beard.
have a reveal, if, you know.
Well,
it's
the one's
gonna
in
be
the
like
chair,
one
but
reveal
not
every,
the glass.
I don't know, 5 to 7 years. So missing it will be sort of critical.
The
for the
one's
studio.
facing us.
We work
That's
in
his drinking
entertainment,
partner right
and
there.
that plays a role in society. Like some people need to reset, they need escapism and things like that, and it kind of felt right, like, okay, yes, it is a business risk, but it's also a moment where we can kind of fulfill our role, right? So let's do it. Let's show them something pretty that they can get excited about and hear new music, and hopefully that kind of, on some level, helps.
I kind of hope like this company keeps on making retro style games and becomes that company that's known for making retro style games. Not like one of those companies that just
Said.
makes one
Riz is
retro
slang
or
for
two
charisma.
retros and then never bothers with retro games again. I miss companies that make retro games their priority. Like, I haven't seen anybody or seen anything from the people that made Cuphead in a while. Don't know what happened to them. The people that made was that Stardew Valley. Haven't heard anything from them in a while. The company that made Ori and the Blind Forest. I loved 1 and 2. Hope they keep on making, maybe not Ori and the Blind Forest, but Ori and the Blind Forest-esque games. Yeah, but so, companies like that, everybody from those companies just merge into one and then just make a bunch of retro style like video games. I love them.
Very tiny fraction.
Not this
I think
always
the
3D,
only
always
sad thing about it is that there was such
open
a good energy in the
world,
studio
always
in the
gun
months leading
shooters.
to the Kickstarter campaign. And we ended up pressing the button. It was just Thierry and I at the office, alone, celebrating just the two together. But yeah, other than that, it was a really hectic month. Like, we just worked like every day.
So we shot a video of the pitch that we were gonna do in person at GDC. We basically shot here in the meeting room with the build, explaining the mechanics and all. It's hard to imagine now, but it was before any meeting happened on Zoom, right? And we actually went ahead and proposed that. I think it was on Skype back then that we did most of them. And we basically sent all the appointments that we have. Here's the pitch video so that you get an understanding of the game. And then
Skype
we'll use the
before
allotted
COVID.
time that we have to do a remote meeting.
And yeah, COVID happened. We revealed Sea of Stars. With the success of the Kickstarter campaign, we sort of have the resources to keep going.
Watch out,
We
there is a
realized,
new
I think we can
variation of
pull this
COVID
off,
going
like,
around right
doing
now.
the
That's what
full
I got.
Self-publishing effort after that, and
So don't think,
we
you
just
know,
went
you're
along
safe.
with it. It was like I didn't know a lot about publishing, so I learned over the years. Working with Thierry really helped me,
Not trying to
understand
scare
the
anybody,
ropes
but
of,
it
game
wasn't
development too, and all
terrible,
that.
but it
I
wasn't
remember we
very
were
nice.
here, and so the studio was empty, and we just hit launch together, and on the campaign filled pressed, and yeah, we were watching the numbers go
I am
up,
always safe,
and
wrap it before you tap
while
it.
also understanding that it was gonna suck for an
Let's say, can you
undefined
actually get
amount of
COVID
time.
from
But we
bucking? But then
definitely
never
latched
mind.
on to
That's
that
a dumb
as-
question.
as a
Of course you
coping
can.
mechanism.
About halfway through, we got confirmation that Mitsuda will be participating in the game. We had reached out to him.
I nutted a little bit, just a little bit, a little wet spot, a little wet state on my drawers when I heard this guy was going to be the music director for this game. I love his work, absolutely love his work, and pretty much every Nintendo game, this guy was the shit. His hairstyle is
Said.
questionable.
Actually, intercourse was one of the leading reasons of spread of COVID early on.
Oh, really? Wow. Well, apparently, this COVID, you can get COVID with pink eye. That was weird. COVID with flu symptoms. COVID with muscle aches, loss of breath. COVID with what was the other ones? Sore throats. So yeah, COVID can show up in many different ways this time. I thought COVID with the pink eye was the weirdest. Cause, like, wait, you scratched your own ass and then rubbed
Said.
your eye and got COVID
COVID
with that?
with COVID.
It's like, how's that work? I was scratching my ass and I forgot I rubbed my eye and I got pink eye, but it's not pink eye, it's actually COVID. So how the fuck does that work? I don't know, bro, but it does. I was scratching her butthole. That's right. I was scratching it. She couldn't reach it. She was just too fat, and I just got in there. I done my business, got in there, and I just had to sniff it one good time, and I forgot. I
Said.
just got started sniffing it,
Cuff
and I
that
just
COVID
rubbed my
too.
eye, and I got in my eye, and I got COVID. So I thought that was weird.
Couple of days before the campaign, and it went pretty quickly. Like, we got confirmation, like, hey, it's gonna happen. So we did a second big beat like 2 weeks after, which wasn't planned initially, which really brought it like second win to the campaign.
Mitsuda is he was very receptive to the
Said,
project. Obviously,
You almost sounded like
accepted
Corvo
to do
Ninja.
it in the first place, and he was really interested in the characters, the story, everything,
And so when talking about Sea of Stars and rambling about all the things that would be ridiculous to have, for sure getting Mitsuda himself to contribute like a guest track or whatever was like, yeah, sure.
I sat down with Thierry and we sort of went over all of the tracks that we wanted to get from him, and was like, we need a town theme, we need a boss theme, all that kind of stuff.
That
And
boss
so
right there was
all the tracks that we got
fucking
out of him
great.
was like, we needed to make sure
took
that
forever
that
to
we
kill,
got
but I
his,
love that
his
boss
stamp
fight.
on, so.
That we even got a reply, right? I don't know, but in my mind, how many times has this guy heard, hey man, you want to go back
Okay,
to
it looks
that
like more than
thing?"
one page of this book.
And we'll never know, right? Because we go through Tom, who's
Said,
his like producer.
Also today
and
I was
also,
watching a
like,
guy
kind
earlier
of
today about the
English-speaking
GOP debate last
representative or
night, and this
something,
individual
and it's
called
been a great
DeSantis Homelander, and that is
collaboration,
now my newest favorite
if
thing
I
on
could
the
get
internet.
one question for him, is like, what did you see, right? What happened that when you
There
got
can only be
that pitch
one
deck,
DeSantis.
For the production side of it, in terms of the music production side of it, he was, you know, obviously he has access to like orchestras and singers and all this, but for the game that we're making, we wanted to keep it retro and to sound more like Super Nintendo. Like the sounds in pretty much all the songs are
Yeah, that's
identifiable
when I think of it,
Super
I
Nintendo
think of
sounds.
Secret of Mana.
He took a similar approach. I guess his approach is he writes the piece and then he'll resample it as like some of the instruments individually as Super Nintendo sounding instruments to get more of that like genuine sound out of it. It's a little bit surreal, yeah. I would say
Hey, honey,
yes.
you might want
I
to
don't-
call up
nobody
and make
gets
sure
to do this.
that Little Caesar doesn't want to fucking close. So you don't get there and like, oh yeah, we closed. That's why you couldn't get it. Like, no.
the actions speak louder than words. And when we offered, like, this is the range of how many tracks we could want for you, like if we're having a conversation, well, the dream is, and he went for the maximum amount, and then writing creative briefs for him. Oh man, here's sketches of this like town, and even telling that story, I kind of fear that by telling it, I'll realize it never happened, you know? But here we are. If the game doesn't work
such
out,
cheerful,
Phil and I are in debt for the rest
lightheartedness
of our lives.
to the music. I love
Oh,
that.
I think everybody in the team does feel like a lot of pressure. It's
And then
you know,
you definitely
once
feel
the
the
launch date
theme
is set in
behind
stone,
each song.
it's basically like
Like
a back
what it's
calendar, and now we don't
supposed to
have
be
a lot of
tied to. It's
flexibility
not
when it
just
comes to
random
timeline. It's just
music,
we have to be super tight.
like in
with
some video
everything.
games.
The numbers seem good and the reaction seems good, but also like in terms of expressing something,
I'm gonna check real quick and see if that money was put in, because if it is, I can't get this because, well, they're out of stock, so I'll have to get the other way. So yeah, not that one.
seeing it come to life, we're in a very lucky
son
position.
of a
Like
bitch.
I look at the game, it's been 5 years, and I'm happy with it. You know, I can't speak for everyone on the team, but I look at you know, as far as game design, game direction, and the writing goes, that's the best I can do. There was not a moment where, you know, someone else on the team said, I can't do that, we can't do the thing you're talking about.
What I was feeling, it was like same as like what a lot of people were feeling around that time, just kind of disconnected and
Okay,
sort
came
of
in, yeah.
isolated, all that stuff. But now, you know, having this to work on and just sort of anticipating the workload and still trying to like figure out how I was going to design the sounds, how I was going to write the music.
Yeah, so we're a couple months from release now, and it feels like Eric was saying the other day that there's
I
too
think
much
it's supposed
left
to come
do,
out
but
this
also there's
month
too little
for-
left to do. I think one thing that's gonna hit
For
us
us
is
right
that-
now,
is
so
the
hopefully
reality
it
that
does.
we won't be working on this forever.
But it's not
because
just
we just have such a great
my
daily
hopes.
routine of like caring about these things and seeing the new stuff come out and then comparing with what someone else did. Oh, that's great. Oh, I can't wait to see that in game and all that. And so to be losing that, because for all of us, it really feels like it's a concrete version of the abstract idea that you have of doing this for a living and it all panning out, you know.
There's still a lot to do for the release of the game. I don't think we'll cut any content. I think everything will be there for the game. So it's pretty wild for me to actually have done it after so many years now.
Yeah, I'm not so much looking forward to launch and the acceptance that it's over, you know, it's out of our hands, and we're not like tight in terms of timeline right now. Everything is just going to be like a smooth landing, so that certainly feels great.
There is a lot of pressure, and even though there's still more to go, I think there's always going to be the pressure of, is it good enough? There's that old saying where art is never finished, it's just abandoned. So at some point, I think with all the milestones that we have internally and the inevitable deadline that we have on the whole project, it's keeping me motivated to make sure I get everything done that I can before it's too late.
My personal nightmare is that because we've shown everything except for the script, right? So I'm just hoping it's not the weak link.
Well, I'd say my biggest fear is like there's a lot of unknown. There's like so many variables when it comes to launching a game, and I think the inexperience on my end is one thing that's sort of, it's like going straight to the final. It's just like I don't have any onboarding of like doing a launch. I don't have like 3 games before, so it's just like I'm going all in on this one, everything to make sure we get all the eyeballs on what the team has crafted over the last 5 years.
My biggest fear is running out of time before I get to do everything that I need to do, but
Okay, so apparently I'm disconnecting every now and then. I'm hoping that is not too interfering. Am I see Lotus, you are not in the right spot, boy.
Said. You can tell that guy's wife bought him that outfit no man would